Three.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mara Khabas, and I will be hosting this interview with Mr. Syed Hussain and Mr. Mohammad Zia Khan. Our guest is joining us all the way from Hong Kong today. He has held many positions, some of them being the coordinator of the Human Rights Cell in Pakistan. He is the founder of the Hong Kong Interpreters and Translators Association, and he is also a part-time lecturer at Hong Kong University Space, teaching Urdu and cultural sensitivity. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Syed Mohammad Naeem Asim. I would like to start off by asking, what is the purpose of International Human Rights Forum?
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to your channel for having me here today. So our organization mission is to act against violation of human rights, create awareness among people of their human rights. We encourage people to step forward to fulfill their social responsibilities, create social harmony by building bridges and facilitating dialogues and cooperation between races, nationalities, religions, and philosophies. We are working for ethnic minorities in Hong Kong, bringing positive change to their lives and help them integrate into the wider society. I believe that every individual can bring a positive change to society. So our motto is uphold the human rights, help humanity.
Okay, so that means that your organization includes people of different faiths. They are committed to social justice, peace, and humanitarian services?
Yes, indeed. People of various faiths are included in our organization. We are living in a multicultural and multilingual and multi-religious society here in Hong Kong, and we aim to bridge the gap between Chinese and non-Chinese residents of Hong Kong to create harmonious societies.
Thank you.
So I would like to ask if, do you have any affiliation with any Pakistani human rights organization or NGOs over there?
Yes, indeed. We have our representatives in Pakistan. This organization was first registered in Islamabad in 1993. And later here in Hong Kong, we are collaborating with an organization, with an human rights organization called IHRO. Yes.
Okay, very good.
So I also wanted to ask you, is the International Human Rights Forum, it's not only working for the welfare of different ethnic minorities, but it's also working on the policy and advocacy levels. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. We are focusing our efforts at grassroots policy and advocacy levels. Yes.
Thank you.
Can you give us some examples of your community service that your organization is doing in Hong Kong?
Yes, we organized seminars to educate people about their rights and rallies on different issues, co-organized with the local NGOs, many seminars, briefing sessions, Christian, Muslims, fellowship dinners, cultural and talent shows, cultural exchange tours, such as Explore Shanghai and Macau, cross-cultural festivals, celebrations, multicultural friendly parades, South Asian community networking, and education-related projects for youth here in Hong Kong. Yes.
So I remember talking with you earlier that you mentioned about distributing a lot of free home test kits with cooperation or with collaboration with the government. So can you tell us more about it?
Yes. During SARS epidemic, I think in 2003, we distributed many masks and leaflets and arranged some programs to tell our local community, especially South Asian community, to how to deal with that epidemic and how to protect themselves. And recently, yes, last week we have distributed around 500 self-COVID testing kits, which was donated by the Home Affairs Bureau here in Hong Kong, and Acting Secretary of Home Affairs Bureau himself visited us and hand over the kits to us. And those kits we have distributed at the same time to our local communities, especially South Asians and Pakistani community. Yes. And we are also doing some activities in Pakistan, like we are organizing rallies, seminars, and cultural shows on different public issues in Pakistan. And we published a weekly newspaper, Human Rights, from Islamabad in 1995 to raise human rights issues. And IHRF also provided free legal aid to those needing help. And we filed many writ petitions in the High Court on noise pollution issues and against delayed rebate cases in Pakistan for our businessmen community, especially exporters of Pakistan. And we paid jail visits with our legal team to inspect the prisoners' condition and listen to their complaints.
No, I think Mr. Zia would like to ask you a couple questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Asim. It was all actually very informative. My question is more technical and more in detail, and maybe need your more input. A general perception amongst the people and different organizations that the human rights actually, like matters come up in conflict and post-conflict era, and is easy to implement the international human rights actually standard in a country like where there's a war or is a war-torn country or conflict region. My question is, before actually I throw the question, also I would like to actually, ask you to elaborate a little bit and brief us for our youth and our listeners and viewers. There's a High Commissioner for Human Rights in Geneva. We all know that Geneva is a house for the human rights. Then we have Human Rights Commission. Then we have 15 reporters, if I'm not wrong. They are actually all over the place, over the world, are actually reporting and analyzing and main key issue, which actually trickle down at the government levels even. And many government, they make the policy about the, make the policy with IOM, refugee, asylum, all these things come. But it's a very complicated, very thorough process. My questions to you actually that how difficult for you when you work in Pakistan or in Hong Kong, based on the international standard of the human rights, while the people still love to follow their values, their religion, their old, what we call it, not, I don't want to say conservative thing, but sometimes it's conflict actually with whatever we promote or we try to bring the international standard of the human rights, is always have actually some kind of values which actually, make some kind of difficulties for the people who are working in the field or different regions. I'm sorry, it's a long question, and I try to actually put a lot of things together, but I actually, will be very grateful if you can give the best answer.
Yeah, I'll try my best. Actually, human rights is a very vast concept and a very vast topic. And it is a multi-dimensional, actually. And when I say multi-dimensional, it means that we can categorize it into three major categories, if you say. So one, we can say that it is international human rights, international dimension of human rights. Yes. So when we are talking about the international dimension of human rights, it means that there are around 10, 11 international treaties, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was passed and proclaimed in UN General Assembly in Geneva Convention on 10th December 1948. Yes, so it has 30 articles. If we briefly go through the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it consists of 30 articles which guarantees some rights and protections such as right to life, liberty, and security, Article 3, and the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, Article 11, freedom of movement, Article 13, freedom of opinion and expression, Article 19, freedom of peaceful assembly, Article 20, and UDHR means Universal Declaration of Human Rights also prohibits slavery, and CIDTP means torture or cruel, inhuman, degrading, and treatment or punishment. So it also talks about effective remedy in case of violation of fundamental human rights. So other instruments includes International Covenant on Elimination of All Forms of racial discrimination, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, and so on. So there are almost 10, 11 international treaties. So when we are talking about the international dimension, so it means we are referring to those international treaties that are the main source of the human rights. And there is another dimension that is called local dimension or domestic dimension, means the local countries' constitutions, constitutional rights, which are given in the local legal system. And there is another aspect or another dimension which is called religious or cultural dimension. So especially as religions also give some rights to their followers or for the general public. So it depends that when we are talking about the human rights, which category we are talking to. Yes, and there are different communities and different concepts. Like in India, there is a caste system, and it is difficult to explain them that these are humans are equal and their rights are equal and they are equal before the law, but still there are some discriminations there. Yes.
So the last question I would like to ask you for today is if you can give us a little bit of an explanation on what a crime is and, you know, what the elements of a crime are and what rights an arrested person might have in that situation.
Yeah, and so elements of crime. There are two major elements of crime. One is called actus reus, and the second is mens rea. So actus reus means guilty act. It is a Latin word, and mens rea means guilty mind. When these two elements are together, then it constitutes a crime. It has some additional elements like gross negligence and carelessness and others, but these two main things, if a person entered in a grocery shop or any supermarket, so he takes something and come out without paying, means without going to cashier, and this is called actus reus, means he have done a guilty act. But in the court, we need to ascertain that whether he has a guilty mind as well or not. Means maybe he forgot to pay, he has no intention not to pay. So that's the thing. So these two elements, means intention and act, if both are there, then it constitutes a crime. So what was your second question relating to that? So I
think that was Mr. Syed. Do you have the second
question?
Before
Maruk actually, conclude this one, I just want to actually jump in. Do you agree that rights come with responsibility? If I claim my rights to my society, to my government, to my even parents, to my neighbors, it should come with the with responsibility. If I'm going and protesting outside the government organization, court, somewhere, as a citizen of this world, what your message to each and every youngster, each and every person, to fulfill your responsibility before you go and ask and demand for your rights? Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, in all constitutions of countries, the constitution of the country consists of major three parts. So basically, administration part, how to run the country and what will be the system there. And two major things that one, it talks, all constitutions talks about the rights and duties. So rights are not unlimited, or rights are not beyond something. It is restricted. Rights are restricted. For example, if you want to go for protest, so protest must be peaceful. Otherwise, means you have limitations when you are try to enjoy the rights. And same times, Constitution explain the duties of the citizens. So we also follow the duties. We should know that what are our duties towards the community, and we should be law-abiding citizens. And what are the rights? So rights can be restricted, and sometimes rights can be limited by the governments. Like in SARS, in present epidemic, like ban on gatherings. So it is an example of limiting the rights. Yes. So of course, every constitution talks about rights and duties, and some articles or some government impose are not fair, and the ideal situation is that the government shouldn't make laws that provide immunity to human rights violation. For instance, the Indian Armed Forces Jammu and Kashmir Special Power Act 1990 and Citizen Amendment Act 2019 receive criticism in this regard. And the Indian Armed Forces Jammu and Kashmir Special Powers Act, which is called AFSPA, 1990, passed to enforce in those areas that were officially declared as disturbed areas. For example, Jammu and Kashmir, the laws allow immunity to certain extent on violation of human rights, and delegate the excessive powers to armed forces deployed in so-called disturbed areas. So, which means that in Kashmir, which is a disputed territory between India and Pakistan, as the world knows that Kashmiris are struggling for the right to self-determination, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, recognized the right to self-determination. Instead of addressing their issues, sending forces with the excessive powers is questionable. Anyway, the thing is that there are some laws in some countries which gave excessive powers to the law enforcement agencies, and it limits the rights of the citizens. So we think that this kind of law, another law we are talking, if we discuss here regarding Citizen Amendment Laws Act 2019, Indian citizens themselves raise concerns that it is a discriminatory law. The new law fails to offer the same level of protection to the Muslim minority in India. So this kind of things, the government should avoid to impose this kind of law which are based on discrimination or other things. But the thing is, as a whole, every country have their own situation, environment, and circumstances, and they sometimes they don't follow the international covenants, and the people who are talking about human rights facing some difficulties because government normally government doesn't like that somebody is talking about the violations of human rights. Yes, so it's the case. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Mr. Asim.
Can I ask another question before we leave?
Yes, sure. Sure.
I noticed that you also are the founder of Interpreter and Translator Foundation or organization or something. Can you talk about that? How people can join that profession, and what's the difference between interpreter and translation?
Yes. Here, many South Asians are part of the organization, and many people are in this field, in this profession. This is a very demanding profession here in Hong Kong, especially. So, because there are many South Asians from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and Nepal, and other countries are living here, and they are permanent residents or citizens here. So, they are interpretation is a demanding job here. So the major difference between interpretation and translation is that when we are talking about the interpretation, it means that the process of rendering a verbal message from one language to another language without adding, deleting, or modifying its intent. So this is interpretation. When we are talking about the translation, so it means that rendering our verbal message from one language to another language without adding, deleting, or modifying its intent. So there is a key difference between interpretation and translation. Interpretation, when you are talking verbally to each other. Yes, and when you are interpreting from one language to another language by verbally. So if you are translating a book from one language to another language, so that is called the translation. So that is the key difference between the interpretation and translation. So people can be interpreter, just only interpreters who are working in the course and just verbally conveying the messages, and people can be the translators, can dealing with the written materials. Yes, so they can be both, means interpreters and translators.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Mr. Asim, for your time today, and thank you so much for sharing such insightful information. Unfortunately, we have to cut it off here. We don't have too much time, and we also don't want to keep you from your busy day. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and that's it for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you very much, team of QNN, especially Mr. Mohammad Zia Khan and Syed Abid Hussain and Maruf, all of you. Thank you very much for inviting me in your channel, and it's good, nice talking to you all. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.